In the vast reaches of space, the Galactic Empire ruled with unmatched power. Their ships were the fastest, their technology the most advanced, and their knowledge of the universe far beyond any other species. They had conquered countless worlds, defeated powerful enemies, and established their dominance in the galaxy. The leaders of the Empire often spoke with pride about their superiority. Their enemies, they believed, were no match for them. One quiet day in the deep expanse of space, the Empire received a strange report. A small human fleet, which had never been on their radar before, was traveling through a part of space that the Empire had claimed as their own. The aliens weren't concerned at first. They had heard of humans, primitive beings, living on a small planet called Earth. They were a species that had never left their planet until recently, and even then, their technology was outdated and weak. The Galactic Empire had never felt threatened by them. The fleet of human ships appeared insignificant, just another unimportant group that wandered into their domain. The Empire's military leaders discussed how best to deal with this minor annoyance. They decided to send a small force to intercept them, believing that it would be an easy task. A few warning shots, and they'll turn around, the Imperial commander, Varen, said with a confident smile. He looked around the room at his officers, all of whom shared his confidence. But the humans were moving closer, unaware of the danger they were heading toward. The Empire's fleet prepared for the encounter, but there was no fear, no sense of urgency. The alien ships stood ready in the cold vacuum of space as the human fleet approached. And then, without warning, a massive object appeared from behind a nearby star, far larger than any ship the Empire had ever seen. It was a human battleship. The alien fleet had never encountered anything like it before. At first, the Imperial officers thought it was a mirage, a mistake of their scanners. But the readings were clear. The ship was real, and it was massive. The human battleship loomed ahead, its sleek, dark hull gleaming in the light of the distant star. It had the shape of a warship, but it was unlike anything the aliens had ever constructed. The ship was surrounded by a strange energy field, something the Empire had never seen. The humans had never possessed such advanced technology. How could they have built something like this? It didn't make sense. The officers on the alien ship stared at their monitors in stunned silence. "What is that?" one of them muttered, unable to believe what they were seeing. Their eyes couldn't comprehend the magnitude of what was before them. This wasn't a small, helpless human ship. This was something entirely different, something far more dangerous. As the human battleship moved closer, the alien commanders had to make a decision. This wasn't an ordinary encounter. This was something new, something they didn't understand. As the human battleship continued its approach, the atmosphere in the alien fleet shifted from confusion to growing concern. The Empire's officers quickly adjusted their focus, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. This was no ordinary ship. The humans, who had always been considered a primitive species, had somehow produced a vessel that was far beyond anything the Galactic Empire had ever encountered. The ship was enormous, easily dwarfing the alien warships around it. It had a sharp, sleek design, with lines that seemed to cut through space itself. Its surface was smooth, but it shimmered with an almost unnatural energy. The alien fleet had never seen anything like it. It was as if the ship had been built from a material unknown to them, something far stronger and more durable than any metal they had ever used. The human battleship did not just look different, it radiated power. The Empire's fleet, which had always been the most feared in the galaxy, now seemed small and outdated in comparison. The alien commanders, who had once been so confident, began to question their previous assumptions. What had they gotten themselves into? Commander Varen, who had been the most certain of the aliens' superiority, now stared in disbelief at the readings on his console. "This can't be right," he muttered under his breath. He checked the scans again, certain that they must be faulty. But no matter how many times he checked, the results were the same. The human ship was not only larger than any vessel the Empire had ever seen, but it was also stronger and faster. The human technology was beyond anything they could have imagined. "Prepare to engage," Varen barked, trying to regain some of his lost confidence. "Let's see how these humans fare against us." But as soon as the alien fleet began to move into position to attack, the human battleship did something unexpected. It didn't move away or retreat in fear. Instead, it slowly turned to face the alien ships head-on, as if daring them to attack. The aliens were taken aback by the human ship's boldness. Most species would have fled in fear at the sight of the Empire's mighty fleet, but not the humans. They were not running away. "Commander, their weapons. They are activating," one of the officers said nervously. A sudden wave of tension swept through the alien fleet as they realized the humans were preparing for a fight. The Empire had always been the one to instigate battles, but now it was the humans who were ready to strike. On the human ship, the crew moved with a calm precision that surprised even the aliens. The humans didn't seem afraid. They didn't hesitate or waste time. It was as if they had done this 1,000 times before, though the Empire knew this was the first time they had encountered anything remotely like the Galactic Empire. Varen's heart pounded as he watched the human battleship's weapons power up. This was no longer just a simple skirmish. This was a test of power, strategy, and perhaps even survival. The humans had just shown the Empire that they were more than a match for their enemies. The Galactic Empire, once proud of its place as the strongest force in the galaxy, now had to face the reality that it had been mistaken about the humans. The battle had just begun. The first shot fired by the human battleship left the alien fleet stunned. It was as if the humans had unlocked the secrets of the universe itself. The blast from the human ship's energy cannons was unlike anything the aliens had seen. The energy beam was pure, focused, and powerful. It hit the nearest alien ship with such force that it cracked the outer hull and sent shockwaves through the ship's internal systems. The alien ship began to break apart, its once imposing structure crumpling like paper. "Impossible," Varen whispered, watching in disbelief as the alien ship exploded into a cloud of debris. How could they have such power? The other alien commanders on their ships watched in silence, fear slowly creeping into their minds. The humans had not only proven themselves stronger, but they had also demonstrated a level of precision and control that the Empire had never seen. Their weapons were unlike anything the Empire had encountered. They didn't fire erratically like most weapons. They were targeted, controlled, and devastating. Varen quickly ordered his fleet to open fire, trying to regain control of the situation. His ships launched a barrage of weapons, but the human battleship effortlessly dodged the attacks. It was as if the ship could predict the movements of the alien ships before they even made them. The human ship was faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. The way it moved through space was fluid and precise, almost as if it were an extension of the crew's thoughts. "Bring up the shields," Varen ordered, trying to protect his fleet. But his voice was filled with doubt. The humans had already proven that their weapons could breach the strongest defenses. He had no idea how to win this fight. The human ship fired again, and this time, the blast hit one of the alien warships directly. The shields on the alien ship flared up in a desperate attempt to protect it, but it was no use. The blast tore through the shield like it was made of paper, and the alien ship's core exploded in a brilliant burst of light. "This is impossible," one of the alien officers yelled. "How are they doing this?" Varen clenched his fists in frustration. He had never seen anything like it. The humans were not just stronger. They were more intelligent, more prepared, and more disciplined than anything the Empire had faced. The human technology was beyond their comprehension. "Scanners report," Varen said urgently, trying to make sense of the situation. His officers quickly ran the scans, but the data didn't help. The human battleship's energy signatures were unlike anything they had seen before. It didn't match any known weapon system in the Empire's database. "Sir, the human ship is," one of the officers started, but he was cut off as another blast from the human battleship tore through an alien ship, disintegrating it in an instant. Varen's mind raced. If these humans had this kind of technology, they were no longer just an annoyance. They were a serious threat, a threat the Empire had not prepared for. The battle was far from over, but the aliens were starting to realize that they were in over their heads. The humans had something they couldn't understand, something that made them a force to be reckoned with. The battle had escalated quickly, and the alien fleet was now fully engaged in combat with the human battleship. Despite the overwhelming numbers of alien ships, the humans fought back with a power and precision that left the alien commanders in shock. It was unlike any battle they had ever fought before. The human battleship was a fortress, its weapons more accurate and deadly than anything the aliens could have imagined. Each shot from the human ship hit its target with deadly force, ripping through the alien ships with ease. The alien fleet tried to retaliate, but their weapons couldn't seem to reach the human ship. Every time they fired, the human battleship would shift position, dodging the attack as if it knew exactly what the aliens were planning. "This is madness," Varen shouted. He had been in countless battles, but nothing like this. The humans were outmaneuvering them at every turn. Their technology was not only advanced, it was smarter. It seemed as though the human ship had a mind of its own, predicting the alien movements with frightening accuracy. The alien ships attempted to surround the human battleship, thinking they could overpower it by sheer numbers. But the humans were always one step ahead. They used their weapons to cripple the alien ships before they could get close enough to strike. One by one, the alien ships were destroyed, their hulks floating through space as debris. "Commander, we need to retreat," one of the alien officers said urgently. "We're losing ships too quickly. They are too strong." But Varen wasn't ready to give up. He was a seasoned commander, and he had seen many battles. But this was different. He couldn't just let the human ship destroy his entire fleet. The pride of the Galactic Empire was on the line. They had never been defeated in such a humiliating way before. "No," Varen said firmly, shaking his head. "We will not retreat. We will fight until the last ship is standing." But as the battle raged on, it became clear that the alien fleet was losing. The human ship continued to take down one enemy vessel after another, without breaking a sweat. The Empire's ships, which had once been the most feared in the galaxy, were now just helpless targets. The humans didn't seem to be struggling. Their ship shields held strong, and their weapons were far more powerful than anything the aliens had. The crew on the human battleship remained calm, their movements coordinated as if they had been training for this moment their entire lives. Varen's frustration grew. He had underestimated the humans. He had believed that they were no match for the Empire's might. Now he was facing the reality that he had been wrong. The humans were not only capable, they were unstoppable. The alien fleet, once so confident in their power, now faced an overwhelming defeat. The human battleship's relentless assault was taking its toll. As another alien ship was destroyed, the remaining alien ships began to retreat. But it was too late. The damage had already been done. The humans had proven that they were more than capable of standing their ground against the Empire. Varen clenched his fists. This was not the way the Empire was supposed to be defeated. But the reality was clear. Humans were not the weak, primitive species he had once believed them to be. They were a force to be reckoned with. The battle between the alien fleet and the human battleship had reached a critical point. The Empire's once confident commanders now realized they were facing a much greater challenge than they had ever imagined. The human ship was not just stronger and faster, it was smarter. It fought with a level of strategy that the aliens were not prepared for. The humans were not relying on brute force alone. They were thinking several moves ahead. Varen's mind raced as he watched the human battleship continue to outsmart them at every turn. The human ship had already destroyed half of the alien fleet, and the remaining ships were starting to retreat, trying to regroup. But no matter where they moved, the human battleship seemed to anticipate their every move. "Commander, they're outmaneuvering us again," one of the alien officers said, panic creeping into their voice. Every time we try to reposition, they're already there, ready to strike. Varen clenched his jaw. He had seen battles before, but this was unlike anything he had ever experienced. The humans didn't just fight. They planned. They used the weaknesses of the alien fleet against them. The human ship's weapons were more precise than anything the Empire had, and the ship itself seemed to be built with the sole purpose of countering the alien ship's every move. It was a game of strategy, one the aliens were losing. Varen had been trained to expect victory, but now he had to face the fact that the humans were a far more dangerous opponent than they had ever realized. "Don't just stand there," Varen shouted, his voice filled with frustration. "Adjust your tactics. Get creative. We need to break through." But the officers on his ship were just as lost. The humans were unpredictable. They didn't fight the way anyone had expected. The alien fleet was used to overwhelming their enemies with sheer numbers, but the humans had proven that numbers didn't matter when the enemy was smarter, faster, and more organized. The alien ships began to scatter, trying to break free of the human battleship's relentless pursuit. But the humans were too good. Every time an alien ship tried to escape, the human ship cut them off. The alien fleet was like a group of prey trying to outrun a predator, but it was no use. As the battle wore on, the alien ships continued to fall one by one. The humans weren't just winning, they were humiliating the Empire. Varen knew that if the rest of the alien fleet didn't change tactics soon, they would lose everything. The humans had shown no mercy, no hesitation. The Empire's reputation was crumbling before his eyes. "Prepare to launch all remaining fighters," Varen ordered, his voice growing desperate. "We will swarm them. There is no other choice." But deep down, he knew the truth. It was too late. The humans had already proven themselves more than a match for the Empire. And now, there was no escaping the consequences. The battle had become a one-sided affair. The alien fleet, once full of pride and confidence, was now in disarray. Half of their ships had already been destroyed, and the remaining forces were struggling to hold their ground. The human battleship continued to dominate the fight, moving with precision and power that left the alien commanders scrambling for answers. Commander Varen stood at the front of his command ship, staring out at the battlefield in disbelief. His fleet was falling apart, and the humans showed no signs of slowing down. Every time an alien ship attempted to escape, the human battleship was there, cutting them off with ease. It was like the humans could predict their every move. "We can't keep up like this," Varen said through gritted teeth. His voice was filled with frustration. The alien fleet was falling apart, and there seemed to be no way to turn the tide. The humans were too fast, too organized, and too smart. The Empire had never faced an enemy like this before. "Commander, we need to retreat," one of his officers urged, panic creeping into his voice. "We've lost too many ships. If we don't withdraw now, we'll be destroyed." Varen's mind raced. He knew that retreat was an option, but he couldn't bring himself to admit defeat. The Galactic Empire had never retreated from a battle before. To pull back now would be a disgrace, a blow to their pride. But the situation was becoming desperate. The aliens were being picked off one by one, and the human battleship showed no signs of slowing. "No," Varen said, shaking his head. "We will not run. We will fight until the last ship is standing." He knew that it was a dangerous decision, but his pride as a commander was on the line. The humans had pushed the Empire to the brink, and if he retreated now, it would be a permanent stain on their reputation. He couldn't allow that. The alien ships continued to fire at the human battleship, but the attacks barely scratched the surface. The human ship's shields were too strong, and its weapons were too powerful. With every strike, more alien ships were destroyed, and the alien fleet grew smaller. "Focus on their weak spots," Varen ordered. "Target the engine, the weapons, anything we can hit. We need to take that ship down." But even as he gave the order, Varen knew it was unlikely to make a difference. The humans were already too advanced. The Empire's weapons were no match for their technology, and their strategy had been flawless. The human battleship had already shown that it was not just a powerful ship. It was a symbol of everything the humans had accomplished. The remaining alien ships tried to regroup, but it was clear they were outmatched. The humans had turned the tables, and the Empire's might was crumbling before their eyes. The humans had done what no one thought possible. They had taken on the greatest military force in the galaxy, and were winning. As the alien fleet began to retreat, Varen couldn't help but feel a deep sense of humiliation. He had been wrong about the humans. He had underestimated them. And now his fleet was paying the price. The Empire, once the most feared force in the galaxy, was now facing a new reality. One in which humans were not the weak, insignificant species they had always believed. The battle had taken a surprising turn. The alien fleet, once a powerful force, was now in full retreat. Their ships scattered, trying to escape the relentless onslaught of the human battleship. Commander Varen watched in disbelief as the once mighty Empire's fleet fell apart before his eyes. The humans had outplayed them at every turn, and now it seemed like the end was inevitable. But just as the aliens began to flee, the human battleship did something unexpected. Instead of continuing to chase them down or launching more attacks, the human ship stopped. It hovered in the middle of the battlefield, its powerful weapons silent for the first time since the fight began. For a moment, it was as if the human ship was waiting, watching. Then, without warning, a transmission came through. The alien fleet commanders were shocked when they saw the message was coming from the human battleship. The transmission was calm, confident, almost as if the humans were in control of the situation. It was clear that the humans had already won. Alien fleet, this is Commander Harlan of the human battleship Resolute, the voice said, clear and strong. We have proven our strength and strategy in battle. Your fleet has been decimated. You have two choices: surrender and begin peace talks, or continue to face the consequences of your actions. The message was simple, yet powerful. The humans were offering an ultimatum: surrender and negotiate a peaceful solution, or continue to fight and face more destruction. The alien commanders were stunned. They had never seen anything like this before. It was as if the humans had already decided their fate. Commander Varen listened to the transmission, his mind racing. The audacity of the humans was beyond anything he had expected. They had fought with strength, skill, and intelligence, and now they were offering peace. The Empire, the once unbeatable force in the galaxy, was now on the brink of defeat, and the humans were the ones calling the shots. No, we will not surrender, Varen said through gritted teeth. We are the Galactic Empire. We do not bow to anyone, especially not to these humans. His officers, still shaken from the battle, exchanged nervous glances. Some of them had already lost the will to fight. They had seen the human battleship's power firsthand, and they knew they were no match for it. But Varen, consumed by pride, refused to back down. We will fight until the last ship, Varen declared, his voice hard. We will show them the strength of the Empire. But deep down, he wasn't so sure. The humans had already proven themselves to be formidable. Their technology, their tactics, their sheer will to win. It was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. The Empire had always been the one to dictate the terms of war, but now the humans were calling the shots. The tables had turned. The human transmission ended, leaving the alien fleet with a choice. Varen could feel the weight of the decision pressing on him. He had to decide whether to continue the fight or accept the humans' terms and try to save what was left of his fleet. As the alien fleet continued to retreat, the silence in the command center was deafening. Varen knew that the future of the Empire depended on the decision he made now. But whatever choice he made, one thing was clear: the humans had shown that they were not to be underestimated. The alien fleet, battered and broken, limped through space, retreating from the human battleship that had decisively won the fight. Commander Varen, though still unwilling to admit defeat, couldn't help but feel a deep sense of dread. The humans had not only proven themselves in battle, but they had also offered something the Empire had never expected: peace. The human ultimatum echoed in his mind: surrender and begin peace talks, or face the consequences. These words had been so simple, yet so powerful. The Empire's pride had been shattered, and now Varen had to make a choice that could change the galaxy forever. The retreating ships had been given no choice but to move further back into their territory, but Varen knew that something had to change. He couldn't ignore the humans anymore. They had shown themselves to be a force like no other. The thought of continuing the fight seemed foolish now. What would it achieve? The Empire was on the verge of collapse, and the humans were not going to back down. At the heart of the Imperial command ship, Varen gathered his remaining commanders. The mood was grim. Their once mighty fleet had been decimated, and there were no more grand speeches to make or plans to form. They were simply left with the aftermath of their arrogance. "What do we do now, Commander?" one of his officers asked, their voice filled with uncertainty. Varen took a deep breath, the weight of the decision pressing on him. He had spent his entire career fighting for the Empire, for the glory of their people. But now, all that seemed meaningless in the face of what the humans had accomplished. "We send a message," Varen said finally, his voice softer than before. "We accept their terms." The room fell silent. The idea of surrendering to the humans was unthinkable for many of the alien officers. They had been raised to believe that the Galactic Empire was the greatest power in the galaxy, and now they were being forced to admit that they had been wrong. But the facts were undeniable. The humans were far stronger, and their strategy had been flawless. Fighting more would only lead to complete destruction. The decision was made, and the alien fleet began to transmit their message to the human battleship. Varen's pride still ached, but he knew it was the only way forward. The future of the Empire depended on this moment of humility. The response from the human commander came swiftly. Acknowledged, came the simple reply: "We will begin peace talks at your earliest convenience." Varen felt a mix of relief and humiliation. The humans had given them a chance to survive, to rebuild. It was a moment of change for the Empire. The once proud force that had ruled the galaxy now had to face the truth. The humans were no longer a weak species. They were a new power that could not be ignored. As the alien fleet turned back toward their homeworld, Varen knew that nothing would ever be the same. The Galactic Empire had been forced to accept a new reality. The humans had arrived, and their dominance in the galaxy had only just begun. After the alien fleet's retreat, things began to change quickly. The Empire, once so proud and powerful, was now humbled. Commander Varen, who had once believed that the Empire was invincible, found himself in the most difficult position of his career. The human battleship had shattered everything he thought he knew about warfare and power. The message from the humans had been clear. They were not just looking for victory, they were offering peace. The choice was now in the hands of the Galactic Empire. But even as the decision to negotiate was made, the alien fleet still struggled to understand the full meaning of what had happened. They were no longer the most powerful species in the galaxy. They had been overtaken, outsmarted, and outmatched by humans. As Varen sat in the command center, the weight of the defeat pressed heavily on him. He couldn't ignore the change in the galaxy. The humans had arrived with technology, strategy, and strength that no one had expected. They had proven that they could stand toe-to-toe with the Empire and win. And now, they were offering the chance for peace. But how could the Empire accept such a thing? How could they bow to a species that had once been considered so weak and insignificant? Varen's pride was still bruised, but he knew it was the only choice. The alternative was complete destruction. The transmission from the human battleship had been straightforward. "We accept your surrender and will begin peace talks." The words were simple, but they carried immense power. The humans had already proven that they could defeat the Empire with ease, and now they were showing mercy. Varen had never imagined that the day would come when the Empire would be forced to ask for peace. The alien fleet began to make its way toward the designated meeting point, where the human fleet would be waiting. As they traveled, there was a deep sense of unease among the officers. There were still many who believed the Empire should have fought on, that surrendering to humans was a cowardly decision. But the reality of the situation was clear. The Empire had no choice. The humans were too powerful, and there was no point in continuing a fight that had already been lost. At the meeting point, the human fleet was waiting in silence. The human battleship, Resolute, stood at the center, its sleek form like a dark shadow in the void. The alien ships approached, their engines running low, their hulls scarred from the battle. There was no fanfare, no victory celebrations. The humans didn't need to boast. They had already won. Varen and his officers boarded a small shuttle to meet the human commander. As they approached the human battleship, Varen couldn't help but feel the weight of history on his shoulders. He had once believed the Empire was invincible, but now he was about to face the humans. Humans who had proved that they were no longer the underdogs. They were the new power in the galaxy. As the shuttle docked, the doors opened, and Commander Harlan of the Resolute stepped forward to greet them. There was no smugness in his expression, no sense of triumph. He simply extended his hand in a gesture of peace. Varen's eyes met Harlan's, and for the first time, he realized that the galaxy was no longer ruled by the Empire. The humans had arrived, and their reign had just begun. The meeting between the alien commanders and the human leader, Commander Harlan, was a quiet one. There was no need for words of victory. The battle had already been won, and the fate of the Galactic Empire was sealed. As Varen and the remaining officers of the alien fleet stepped onto the human ship, the atmosphere was calm but tense. The alien fleet had been forced to surrender, and now they stood face to face with the humans who had shown them their limits. Commander Harlan stood in front of them, his posture confident but not arrogant. He didn't need to gloat. The humans had already shown their strength, and they had already won. There was no need for further display. Harlan extended his hand to Varen, the symbol of the peace they had offered. Varen hesitated for a moment, but then took the human's hand. It was a simple gesture, but to Varen, it felt like a moment of great significance. "You've made the right choice," Harlan said, his voice calm and steady. "Your fleet fought hard, but now it's time to move forward. You don't need to fear us. We want peace, not destruction." Varen looked into Harlan's eyes, seeing the sincerity in his words. There was no malice, no desire for revenge. The humans had shown mercy where the Empire would have shown none. For the first time, Varen realized that the Empire had misunderstood the humans completely. They had thought of them as weak, but in truth, the humans were strong not only in their technology and tactics, but in their ability to show mercy and offer peace. "Peace," Varen repeated, almost in disbelief. "After everything we've done, after the destruction we've caused." Harlan nodded. "War is not the way forward. We've seen enough of it to know that it only leads to more destruction. We believe that cooperation is the key to a better future. Together, we can achieve more than we ever could by fighting." Varen felt a mix of relief and shame. The Empire had always valued strength above all else, but now, in front of the human leader, he could see that there was more to strength than just power and weapons. The humans had shown that wisdom and compassion could be just as strong. As the talks continued, the Empire's officers began to understand the humans' vision. The humans didn't want to destroy the Empire. They wanted to work together, to build a future where both sides could thrive. Slowly, the alien leaders began to open up, realizing that they had been blinded by their own pride. The humans had not only defeated them in battle, but had also shown them a path forward, a path of cooperation and understanding. Over the next few weeks, negotiations took place. The humans and the Galactic Empire agreed to a new alliance, one based on mutual respect and shared knowledge. The humans had proven that they were not the underdogs. They had not only survived, but had become a powerful force for peace in the galaxy. The galaxy had shifted. The Empire, once the strongest force in the universe, had been humbled by a species they had once dismissed. And in that moment, a new era began. An era where humans were no longer seen as weak, but as equals in the eyes of the galaxy.